What's up YouTube? Today I'm doing another maintenance video. I'll be bleeding my hydraulic clutch. This is very similar to bleeding the brakes, which I did a video on previously. I'll have a link to that video at the end of this video, so check it out. But for right now, just like that video, we got to do some prep work, and that means covering up the tank, covering up the fender, and if you got lowers like I do, you want to cover that up because brake fluid is toxic. So let me go ahead and get that prepped and we'll get started. Okay, real quick, I just want to show you the Mityvac brake bleeding pump. This is what I used for bleeding my brakes if you didn't see the previous videos. I'll put a link in the description, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, got the cap unscrewed. Get that off. I'll clean the gasket here, also known as a diaphragm, and with some brake cleaner. Let that dry. But as you can see, this is a little murky there. It definitely needs to be changed. So the first thing I like to do is to go ahead and get some of the brake fluid out of the master cylinder. So now that the most of the brake fluid is out of the master cylinder on the clutch, I'm going to add some fresh brake fluid. Like I showed previously in my brake bleeding video, I use Amsoil, and I recommend using a fresh container. Since this was recent, this isn't just newly opened. That's okay. As long as you use it within a year, it should be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and use what I have left of this, put fresh in. And you can see it's still a little murky, so we're gonna go ahead and pump that out from the bleeder valve. Okay, your hydraulic clutch bleeder valve is located behind the outer transmission cover here. Also, I want to mention, if I didn't previously, this is a 2015 Street Glide. And in some cases, depending on whichever exhaust you have, this might be easy to come off. In my case, it is not. I loosened some bolts, kind of moved some stuff around, took a couple bolts off on my exhaust. I didn't want to completely take the exhaust off to have to do this project, but you may or may not have that problem. Just keep that in mind. Obviously, I don't know what exhaust you have. These are Cobras, True Duals, so you might have better luck than I did. But you have two bolts here, and they are 3/16 Allen, so I'll go ahead and get this off. I already know I'm not gonna be able to take this completely off, but I can wedge it just a little bit. That's why I have a little shop towel down here to protect the cover. And I can get to the bleeder valve and I'll show it to you. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a dust cover here for the bleeder valve for the clutch. So I'll pull that off, and then I'll hook up the Mityvac pump. Okay, I just want to show you I'm using a 1/4 inch wrench. Yeah, that's small. I mean, look how tiny this thing is. That's how small that bleeder valve is. I don't know how well you can see that, but I already started pumping the brake fluid. As you can see how murky that is, and I'll add more up into the master cylinder of the clutch, just like I did with the brake bleeding, and we'll continue to pump more out and add more. So as you can see, the level of the brake fluid on the master cylinder has went down, so I just want to keep adding more here up to that fill line. As you can tell, it looks much better. All that murkiness is gone. We'll continue to pump a little bit more out, but you get the idea of the process. Just keep doing it until it's completely clean and clear. It looks much better than it did before. All right, so I wanted to give you a close-up of that bleeder valve. I don't know how well you can see it. It's right there. Like I said, this is a 1/4 inch. So it's already snugged in. You don't need to turn on it too much, you know, you don't want to strip it or anything. So I'll do some cleanup. I'll make sure you clean off your bike as well. You know, make sure you don't get any brake fluid anywhere. And I've already filled up the master cylinder reservoir, and so we're going to go ahead and put the cap back on. All right, don't forget your little duster cap like I almost did. The 3/16 Allen bolts for the outer transmission cover is a torque spec of 100 to 120 inches. So as I mentioned before, you want to clean off the gasket here, the inside of the cap. So I use brake cleaner. Just let it get down in there. Don't want to put that on with the old brake fluid. You know, check your gasket. This looks good. No signs of wear and tear, so I'm gonna let that dry and I'm gonna put it back on. All right, as you can see, I got the brake fluid filled up to the fill line. Go ahead and put the cap back on, make sure it's seated properly. It's very crucial. Again, don't over tighten these, you could warp it over time. Okay, now I'm just gonna go ahead and pump the clutch. It shouldn't take much. I can already feel it's nice and tight, like a hydraulic clutch usually is, not like your typical cable. So yeah, feels good. That is it. All right, folks, that's it for this maintenance. Please let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below. I appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And always rip the ride. See ya.